Hey guys, what is going on? It's Jay Campbell, and of course, the founder of the Decoders of Truth. And I'm very, very excited and thrilled and humbled, and all of you guys should be too. Hold on, let me get the volume on this. To be joined by Robert Stanley. Most of you guys in this group know who Robert is. I could go on and on. Please support his work. It's unicusmagazine.com. He's written 2 books that are both amazing books. He's done countless video productions, countless interviews. He really, really is a guy who understands, in my opinion, what's going on in the world. And I'm, again, so humbled to have him here today. Robert, how are you, brother? Doing well, Jay. Thanks for having me. Yeah, man, I'm so stoked to have you here. I know there's going to be a ton of people probably with a lot of questions as they come on and stuff like that. But as I always do in my interviews, I think there's been so many questions. You've answered so many things. Most people who know you know the mythos that you're in and talk about and stuff. But maybe something that doesn't happen a lot of the times is people really find out who the real Robert Stanley is. So I'd love you to talk a little bit about, how you got to where you are here today.
Well, I grew up in Malibu. I was fortunate to be there in the 60s and 70s and good part of the 80s. That was a very special place. I think it's kind of gone downhill. That's just my opinion. I can't go back. I wouldn't go back. You couldn't pay me to go back.
You think?
So when I see what's going on in Hollywood, Malibu became an extension of Hollywood when they moved in and started building the studios. That's when they built Malibu Colony, and everything that's bad about Hollywood ended up in Malibu.
Right.
And it didn't help the situation. I grew up there, and I wasn't in the industry, but I knew a lot of people that were, because that's where they were living. So, they were my neighbors, and I saw that there was a lot of issues with them, but I also learned the hard way that there's some sort of demonic presence there. Mm-hmm. The native people knew it. I saw it. I encountered it, and that's really what set me on this path. Was having those experiences when I was in my 20s. Mm-hmm. Things really got hot and heavy, and I guess in a way you could say I was thrown in the deep end of the demon pool.
Right.
And somehow I managed to survive it. It was way worse than almost drowning in the surf, honestly. And I've had some hairy experiences doing that. I really thought I was going to die a couple of times. But these entities are difficult, to say the least. Mm-hmm. So, but honestly, look, if you didn't know me and you just met me somewhere, I'm just another normal person. I live a normal life. I'm married. I got a son and a dog and wife, and
right.
I do normal things, but I talk about abnormal or paranormal things because I've experienced them, and I've tried to understand them and help other people understand them, because I know a lot of people have these experiences around the world, and it confuses them. It confused me for a very long time. It took me almost 30 years to actually get some kind of clarity on this.
So when you first started experiencing these things in your early 20s, and I know your story, about meeting Father Enki, and it's an amazing story. And like you said, I believe that many people share similar things, but like you, they don't really have any way to clarify or define them, right? Especially when you're younger. It's not like you can go to the church. It's not like you can go to your parents.
No.
How did you figure it out? How did you decode it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I really feel like I've been had some divine intervention on a few occasions, but ultimately it was my decision not to give up until I actually found an answer to it, because I figure everything has an answer, even if it's hidden or convoluted or whatever. There has to be a context for these things. They can't just. That's just how I think. I'm a very logical person. I'm actually one of those skeptical people in this field. That's what I've come to understand. I don't know why people just accept things on face value. Because a lot of this stuff that we talk about is speculation. Right. And it's fine to do that. But to accept it as gospel, but just because somebody says so, that you think is an authority, that's kind of just not, that's not real. Okay. It's the blind leading the blind, and I see it often. and people are welcome to do it. I don't want to go there. Okay. This is problem. I don't just rely on one source. I never have, and I never will.
Right.
I just kind of pick little pieces that I feel fit into the puzzle as I'm trying to construct this thing that shows me like a tapestry or a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, okay, so imagine if you're trying to do a jigsaw puzzle, but you don't know what the picture is going to be, right? When you get a box of a jigsaw puzzle, normally on the top of the box, it shows you like, this is what you're going for, you know? And I didn't have that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's tough because you got to fit all the geometry, but no, this was completely uncharted water as far as I was concerned. Because you're right, I talked to people once I started having those experiences. I talked to people, and everybody I talked to had a different opinion, and it made it worse. The more I talked to the people that I thought maybe would have an answer, and I read a lot. I still read a lot, but I mean, I read a lot of books. I was already doing that anyway since I was a child, but I read all the so-called New Age, metaphysical, supernatural, paranormal, all that stuff, magazines, books, newspapers, shows. But I didn't really find that there was a credible and clear answer to everything, to put it in one box, Sure. Finish the puzzle, right? So, because I knew I was part of the puzzle.
Right.
See, that was the real motivation. Was I was like, man, I don't know who these things or what these things are, but they're very interested in me. Mm-hmm. And they're obviously real because they're messing with people, including myself. Mm-hmm. So that was, again, that's the motivation. And ultimately, this is why I do what I do.
Was there a specific book that you can literally look back on, let's say when you were between 30 and 35, that said, wow, okay, now I'm resonating with this?
Okay, shortly after I had that experience in the mountains with Enki, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, a friend of mine, a neighbor. What?
Ptah.
Okay, yeah, well, he's got a lot of names. He does a lot of characters, yeah. He's got a lot of personas. So, the book was called, when it was handed to me by my friend, it was called Sunburst, Return of the Ancients by Norman Paulson.
So, by the way, since you said that, my wife and I read the Christ Consciousness book.
Okay, that's what they call it now. Yeah, it's a trippy book. I don't know. Norman was a strange guy. It turns out, though, he was a friend of my dad, and I didn't know that. So when my neighbor handed me this book, he hadn't even read it. He pulled it off of his parents were writers in Hollywood, and he was one of the most intelligent guys that I grew up with. His name's Paul Dixon. It's not a secret, okay? But like his parents were very, like most writers, they're very intelligent. They've got a library, and he and I've been talking. So he went home, and he hadn't even read this book. He just grabbed it off the shelf. Wow. He had this vibe like, Robert should read that, And he hands it to me. He goes, man, I think this will help you. I go, wow, okay. And
wow.
I started reading through it, and I was like, I was kind of blown away. I'm like, wait a sec, wow. Yeah. Oh, where did this come from? He goes, I don't know. It was on my, my parents' library. And I just got a feeling that, this is what you needed to read. And I said, but I read that thing many times, and it did change a little bit. When they changed the name, there was some things that they added or took out, whatever. Somebody was editing this thing because I know Norman's like second or third wife actually helped him write that. And then somebody in the Sunburst, because he created this thing called Sunburst. Mm-hmm. And, but anyway, there was things in there. There was some major clues in there about the Archons.
Right.
And he didn't call them that. But this whole thing about Lucifer going insane and stuff, that sounded, it sounded plausible. I still think there's some aspect of that is true, that it wasn't just some weird ego trip that he went on and rebelled and created a war in heaven and all that stuff. I mean, as you probably heard me say just when I was dressed as a Jedi,
yes.
I was doing that to demonstrate that we're at war. There's a war in the Matrix, inside the Matrix, but it doesn't exist outside. And that's part of the false narrative. They want us to think that the entire universe
Right.
The gods are fighting, it's a family feud and all that stuff, when in fact it's just an internal conflict within the matrix, just like a video game. You've got these two sides that are constantly competing. In order for this thing to work, it's got to have that dynamic, and everybody's competing more or less. So anyway, my complaint with Norman was that he relied heavily on Sitchin's work for some of that stuff, which I don't agree with. I mean, I met Sitchin, and I've read all his books, and I don't have anything against him personally, but I know he was a Luciferian, because everything he wrote was the Luciferian doctrine 2.0. It was like the modern version of Luciferian.
Well, and for me, and that's the sad part, right? Because for people that read like you do and I do at the levels that we do, it's so hard to really. So this is what I always say, like when I read something nowadays, like if it resonates with me and I feel resonation internally, then I feel then I acknowledge that it's some sort of truth. And then, we could talk a little bit about our friend Noah and his books. This group know about the Divine Secret Garden, but his theory, as you know, is that almost everything has been corrupted, right? Because again, like you say, this is the devil's realm, this is Enki's realm, whatever you want to call it, Lucifer's realm. And I know you guys don't agree on everything, and that's fine, but it's so hard to truly get to the bottom of anything, because even with the ancient texts, and I know you've discussed this on Rex's show, we don't even know how much of those have actually been altered and doctored.
No, we don't. Actually, Wes Penray's research talks about that. He was the first person to key me in on that. We can't trust any of that stuff. It's like, okay, so we know historically in human affairs that whoever the victor is in a conflict, they always destroy something or rewrite history or tear down the thing and put themselves up. I mean, it's just like that.
Well, Robert, it's like, I just did an interview with, Jeff Doherty, and you guys talk too. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
We both say we don't even have any idea, any timelines.
No.
The timelines could be completely and wholly fabricated.
Yeah, especially, right. These narratives are all designed to confuse us and distract us and ultimately control us.
Yes. Well, I mean, like we said this the other day, I want your opinion on this. The dinosaurs, right? Yeah, it's funny because Michael Cremo, who's a brilliant, anthropologist. I mean, he's found human bones right next to, dinosaurs that were supposed to be in the Cretaceous period 650 million years ago.
Right.
So what is really going on? Do we really know if 650 million years ago was actually 6,000 years ago? We really don't know, do we?
No, we don't. And time is relative.
Yes.
We know that much. And the time system in the Matrix is a total illusion. Totally. So I don't know how big the Matrix is. They want us to believe it's pretty damn big when it's probably, the way Wes Penray says, it's like maybe 5-6% most of the real creative cosmos, which he calls the Ka. And maybe so. I really have no idea. But this is a simulation that I do accept at this point. And our souls are just basically connected remotely to it like we would play a video game. So the timing is, it only is relevant in the Matrix to itself, self-referential only. And even that's been dicked with many, many times. So just like you can speed things up or slow it down or write entirely new ones. I mean, it's open to any and all of that kind of manipulation.
Yeah, as I was telling you before you and I went live, I'm reading the Nag Hammadi scriptures. Now, I'm very familiar with the Gnostic teachings and the texts and stuff like that. And again, here we go, right? How much of this has been altered?
Right. And as a matter of fact, isn't it convenient that it showed up in 47, the same time that the State of Israel and the CIA and all that Roswell, everything? It's so weird. If you think about it, is this all script? Is it staged? My complaint with, especially with John Lashley, when he quotes from that or like picks and chooses things, kind of put it together like a Mr. Potato Head. The reality is, from what we understand through history, is that the Gnostics had huge libraries. Most of that was at the Library of Alexandria. We're talking tens of thousands of scrolls. So for them to pull out this one little stash and go, oh, okay, this is what they really said. How do you, what? I mean, that's like the tip of the iceberg going there. That's an iceberg. Well, not really. There's the whole thing underneath. We can't.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is you're absolutely right. And it goes back to what, our friend Mr. Pinella said. There's truth with riddle in here.
Yeah, it's all mixed up. Truth and lies, good and evil. But yeah, let's tell everybody what you told me about that.
So I mean, I literally showed Robert this and some of my moderators in the group. I sent this to him the other day, but I mean, it's literally right in here. And this is in the tripartite tractate of the Nag Hammadi scriptures. And it literally says right here, and I've highlighted both of the passages. It literally says right here, apparently the devil, who is the ruler of the material realm. So this is obviously the literal translation by these German, guys that translated this. So, I mean, it's, again, yes, it could be altered. Yes, it could be doctored, but it's all here.
Yeah.
The Gnostics were truly trying to tell us, or whoever the Gnostics were, right? That's just the name we Google them now. But this was a religious, scholarly group. Maybe they were the true initiates. Who knows who they really were? But before Paul and Justinian and Constantine and all these scumbags, doctored Christianity and the Abrahamic religions. I mean, it's all right here that God that everyone worships is not who they think he is.
Right. The other thing is we can't gloss over the fact that all those religions were linked to Egypt.
Yes.
And Mesopotamia. They didn't just arise out of nothing. They had their origins or roots in something older. Right. That doesn't make it more true or accurate, because a lot of that stuff, that's why it was destroyed.
Well, let me ask you this, and this is obviously an opinion question, but I'm interested in your take on this.
Right.
How many times have sapiens, before sapiens, the pre-Adamites, even before the pre-Adamites, how many times do you think we've actually been here and then the simulation started over? I mean, what is your guess?
I really don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't a clue, and the thing is, I don't even want to guess because there's nothing to go on, really.
There's nothing, dude.
So, I mean, I just want to be straight up with you on that. I don't think anybody has an idea. And if they do say they have all the answers, I'm very suspect. It's like, okay.
Well, the only book is The Secret Doctrine by Blavatsky, which I've read. It's so impossible.
Yeah, I read that when I was a kid. My dad had it in his library. Yeah, Secret Doctrine is really difficult to read. And I'm not saying I understood it when I was a young man, but I had it at my fingertips. I had that one and also Isis Unveiled.
Yeah, Isis Unveiled, yeah.
But I don't know, all those root races and all that weird stuff. I mean, look, she was promoting the Luciferian doctrine. That whole thing was all about that. And prior to her, I mean, the Masonic order, they are also promoting the Luciferian doctrine under false pretenses. And they got that mainly from the Knights Templar. When they went into that area, they were exposed to all the Luciferian doctrine there, that he's actually the good guy and that Jehovah's the bad guy, when in fact it's all the same guy.
It's all the same guy, yeah.
Playing this little game, good cop, bad cop. And look, the one thing I do agree with John Pinella is that we were invited to come into this little simulation, amusement park, video game, whatever you want to call it. And we agreed. Have you read the final key that he put up?
Which one is that? I've read all his books.
It's not a book. It's not a book. It's just a little paper. It was like, hey, here's an afterthought.
No, I haven't read that shit.
Here's the whole purpose. It's like, what? Why didn't you just say this up front? Okay. Well, anyway, he put it out there. I'll send it to you later. It's a very short paper. It's up on his website with the rest of the books and the whatever he's doing, like audio books now. But in essence, what it says is that when we came here, our souls were and still are children. We're still in the seed phase.
Right.
And which makes sense to me. And it's kind of important to understand. So when we're looking around ourselves here, there aren't any adults in the room.
Right.
When we're talking to, looking at human affairs. So I do think that Lucifer is a soul, but I think he's an older or elder soul And that it's so, because I can't imagine an infant or seed or child creating something like this matrix. It doesn't make any sense.
No. Well, I mean, Jeff Doherty says that, and again, I just go to him because he's such a great decoder of the biblical texts.
Right.
He says he's one of the Elohim, that he was one of, he's the majestic lizard, a reptilian Elohim that was the fallen one thrown out, whatever. And he has such hatred for us as a species because I guess in their, tweaking of us, he calls them the Elohumans, the dove forms of us, the empathetic, the loving forms of us versus the reptilian, which is the intellectual, the conniving, the violent, that's why he did what he did to us and whatever, before us, again, there's so hard to guess how many times we've been here, but the pre-Adamites, I guess, was destroyed. And, if it was really his workings of the flood or what we know of the flood, and, whether it was some sort of geodydetic thing or whether it was really a flood or anything, but I don't know. It's all fascinating to me. I mean, there really is a lot of information. Wes Penry is a great example. I mean, I even go into J.R. Tolkien and look at the Lord of the Rings. I mean, look at Sauron. I mean, to me, Sauron is the story of the Red Dragon, aka Satan, Lucifer. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah, look, Tolkien didn't make that up. He just twisted it around to become something modern. He modernized Nordic mythology.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah, the lower worlds and all that stuff. But that's still all the Matrix. And when you ask me about these different versions of avatars, and the different, it's like, oh God. So it's sort of like a Game of Thrones that never ends. But it's because there's always everybody competing to like get higher up in the system, but there's no point to that. There's no resolution. Let's put it this way: it can't be solved or resolved in any way. It's not designed to do that. It's designed on conflict, competition, confusion, control.
Do you think? I'm putting you on the spot, of course. Again,
go ahead.
Do you think we're close to the quote unquote end times or biblical revelation shit? I mean, it's crazy to ask that question, but
no, it's not.
Well, when you decode Pinella's stuff and then, you and I talk about the things that happen. And again, your article that you just did about Vegas was absolutely sensational. And by the way, everything you said is exactly what I told Rex 12 hours after it all happened.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that's right. I saw you talking to him. That's right.
12 hours. I have friends inside Vegas PD, people in the district attorney's office. I was on the phone with them and they told me, and I told Rex what they told me, but they said, this is a government cover-up. Okay. They already knew. They literally told 8 hours after everything happened that the narrative was changing and that the feds had come in. And as soon as they told me that, I knew it was a conspiracy. Yeah.
Okay. So the next article, is a spinoff of that satanic sacrifice in Sin City, and it's called the Paddock Papers. Awesome. And it's all about what you're saying there. It shows how this was set up. It's called the subtitle is Profile of a Patsy. And I draw similarities to the JFK assassination alleged. And, but no, I'm telling you, the military intelligence media complex is very skilled at what they do, but they leave clues. Okay. There's only so many ways that you can create a patsy or a false flag, whatever you want to call it, agent provocateur. Right. They had to plan it.
Oh yeah.
And they leave, they're constantly communicating with each other. But the other thing is they program us into believing that this complete nobody was one of the most evil psychopathic people.
Amazing.
And so there's clues like this. There's clues like this that they have left behind. And some of them are so obvious, it blows me away.
Yeah.
Because,
but do you think they do that on purpose though, for people like me and you to know? Like,
no. No, they do it for each other. It's sort of like the way gangs tag things.
Right.
But they're also priming us, what they call predictive programming through Hollywood. Yeah. They're showing us these things because it's part of the script. It's like, so going back to what you asked me about the end times. Yeah. They carefully spent like over 100 years and a lot of effort to create this book or compilation of books that we call the Bible, so that we would be specifically, the gospel of the second coming. I mean, that's really what it was. It wasn't the first time, because even the way they crafted that was not accurate. It was all a setup for the I mean, look, every movie is, the beginning is only setting you up for the ending.
Right.
Right. That's all it's for, is to kind of draw you in. And then it's like conflict. Here's the resolution. And that's the end. Happy, the end. Right. Well, that's exactly how they wrote it. There's going to be a happy ending when he comes back and kicks ass and, 1,000 years of peace and all that stuff. Right. Is it coming? Yeah, of course. They're preparing for that. They have been for a long time, relatively speaking. That's what it's all about, is consolidation of power. They don't, and more importantly, they don't want the souls leaving. John doesn't say this. Fenella doesn't say this anywhere. It's what I've kind of came to the conclusion, that when the last soul leaves the matrix, it ceases to exist. It no longer serves any purpose. I mean, the Luciferians could hang out and just kind of stare at each other, but there's no point. There's no point in being here anymore. At that point, it serves no purpose. So it'll become defunct, and they'll have to disband and move on to whatever they're going to do. But the rest of us, the souls that are participating in this, are connected to the matrix on some level, will be done. And so here's the thing. When they do, I know they have an agenda. There's a reason that they do these sacrifices.
I was just going to ask you that, actually.
Yeah, but it's okay. So there were some souls there that were harvested at the Harvest Festival.
Yeah,
and we really don't know how many people were killed.
No, we have no idea,
because there was multiple shooters in multiple locations.
Yeah, right,
is what we've learned
exactly
through citizen journalists report. They're not even journalists. They're just people talking.
Cell phones and cameras. Yeah.
Right. They were at the events. They don't even fully understand what happened, but they're just trying to tell you what they saw, what they think happened. Anyway, there was a lot of souls that were harvested at that point in a way that I don't think they were ready to leave.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Because as we know, or we believe, people like you and me, we believe that the soul is always sovereign. And even in a horrific, cataclysmic end, it's like my wife always says to me, you choose.
Yeah.
Right? Like something a soul grouping knocks on your shoulder or pulls you out of your spinal column or whatever, but you choose. So in situations like that, like you said, are they still choosing, or is it not even a choice when it happens like that? It's hard to understand that.
Right. So my understanding, when we come in, we are agreeing to, or essentially signing a contract.
Right. You choose your parents. Exactly.
Well, it's not just that. It's we choose to come in and play by their rules, because this is their domain.
Right.
So there's a whole set of rules. Like, you don't understand. Most people don't realize when you buy a ticket to go to Disneyland, there's a contract involved.
Right about that, by the way.
They don't tell you, it's fine print, but it's in there. So, and you agreed to it, even though you didn't read it. The fact is, you bought the ticket, you agreed to it. Okay, so this is what's going on with us. There's a lot of things that we don't recall or didn't understand. So let's say, okay, my time is up. My physical avatar dies. My contract is done.
Yeah.
Whatever, however, it doesn't matter. But the point is, at that point, I'm free to leave. But what they will do is say, hey, don't you want to re-enlist? Yeah. Your work's not done here. You got a lot of things to do. You can help all these people, blah, 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 whatever. They know how I think and what I feel. And so it's pretty simple for them to, at that point, maneuver me back. So I think that's really what happened with those people. Their avatars were taken out, deleted from the matrix, but their souls were now just sort of in limbo, the in between. And they said, okay, you're not finished. You need to come back. And here's where you're going to go. Or maybe they give them an option, like, you could go here, here, or here, but we really need to stay here and complete what you were. In other words, you were interrupted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You should come back and be with this family. Will suit you very well. It's like, look, when you walk into a recruiter's office, they don't tell you everything. They're just like, right, you're going to have to eat mud and get yelled at and, shot at and all that crap. They paint it as this really great thing. You're going to be a freaking hero. So yeah,
It's so true, man. That's actually a brilliant point to think of it like that, because you're right. The sacrifice is you not knowing that you're being sacrificed. And so that as soon as you're blipped out, like you said, your physical form or your matter form is deleted, you're then in this no man's land. And then they're directing you like we've been told in the reincarnation, whatever it is, the cycle, maybe an old grandmother that you really loved will show up and say, "Oh,
something like that.
You need to go over here."
Right.
Boom, you're right back in another body.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, if they did that to me, let's say right now, I killed myself, which I don't recommend this to people. That's not how you exit the matrix. Yeah. But if I was to drop dead right this second, I would be prepared to leave. Most people, though, are
right.
Yeah, we were ready to go, but because we would know better if we were confronted by them and they're like, "No, you got to stay," and I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm done. I'm really done. Okay, I've been here for too long. Thanks. No thanks."
Many times, probably, brother.
But what most people, most souls, I should say, that are been here for a very long time have forgotten, and this is why I suggest people read the Divine Secret Garden, because it helps you put it in the context of wait a second. Right. We came here for one reason, but we actually got caught up in a belief that this is reality and that we are these bodies, when in fact none of that's true. And so it again, I found it very liberating to finally come to that awareness and then start acting on it or reacting to it and helping other people by sharing it,
That's why you and I are talking right now, my friend.
Yeah, no, but the feedback's been really good. I feel like it was, John doesn't know me, but I know he sent me. Well, he does now, only because I've been talking a lot about it. But he obviously saw. He sent me. All he sent me was the link to the book. He didn't say anything about it.
Right.
Okay, and so when I clicked on it, I thought, this is weird. Okay, what's the secret? And I started reading it, and I was about to tune out because you start showing me quotes from the Bible, and I'm thinking,
right. Me, I'm just like you too. Eject.
But I persisted because I'm really curious. Like, what is the secret then?
Right.
And as I read through it, I was like, wow, okay, this guy's deconstructing some really serious lies, and so that's why I ended up reading through it and ultimately, trying to help him, because I think it was helpful to me. I thought maybe it'll help some other people.
No, and obviously same for me. And that's, again, why you and I are talking right now. And again, it's this connection that we make with souls, as we evolve in our own rate and speed. But I agree. I mean, one of the things that I really, really liked about that too, as you go deeper in the books, and by the way, it's kind of interesting how he does write the books and how that if you don't read them in sequential order, you won't know what the F is going on.
Yeah.
But he admits, right, in one part, a very small portion, you have to read very closely in part 3, and then much more in part 4, that he would just lose his way, and then literally through meditation and deep, prayer, he would be, as he says, very openly and transparently, that he was, in his opinion, divinely inspired to get further through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's happened to me as well. But I did it. I was very deliberate about that because I knew I could see my limitations.
Right.
And I knew I was coming up against a wall. And so I asked, ironically though, at the time, many times, I was actually visualizing Lucifer under false pretenses. I thought he was a god or God. I don't know. That's how he presented himself to me. So I'm thinking, right, but anyway, I don't think, okay, in fact, I'm sure, even though I was connecting to him, there's also these other divine beings that are watching everything's happening, because that's our family tree. That's the tree of life. That's where we came from. So naturally they're going to be just like you. Look, if you for me anyway, if I let my son go play at a friend's house, I've already talked to the parents or whatever, and I know the friends, I know the neighborhood, and I'm vibing on that.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not just going to leave him there and turn my back and say, hey, you're on your own. It's not like that. We're family. So when they let us come here, they knew there was a level of safety because it's just a simulation. We're not going to get that hurt, but that doesn't mean that they just went off and, did something, went shopping and said, tough luck. they do watch us. They do help us. They won't do all the work for us.
Right.
They can't. That would be cheating. It's like if I, okay, my kid's at school and he's taking a test and I walk in there and go, hey, you know what the answer to that question is, Johnny? Yeah, here you go. Do good. No, that's not helping the kid, or us, I should say, as souls, as seeds of light. We do need these challenges in order to, because I'm understanding this is a really unique situation here. It doesn't exist. This matrix, like where everything good and evil is smashed together, truth and lies, and you have to sort through it. All those challenges don't exist outside the matrix. Once you move up the heaven into so-called the heaven, as we know it or think we know it. So it's the skills that we develop here as souls are very different and special. And I'm sure they're going to serve a purpose at some point. I just don't fully understand it, and it's probably not important. I just know that there's a higher purpose. That was the other thing Penella helped me understand, was that this wasn't an accident. No. Or if it was, that the divine beings, the higher ones, the truly benevolent beings, knew that this was going to actually be of some benefit, and that's why they permitted it to continue. I thought that was cool.
It's fascinating, actually. And by the way, for everybody who's watching right now, we have a lot of people watching. We're talking about John Penella's books. You can find all of his books for free at the divinesecretgarden.com. I put a link in the Facebook already about it. But and then I would also just say, as Robert and I have both done, John's a very pious guy, to say the least. So if you can support his work, by purchasing the books on Amazon, please do. Now, he says he doesn't make any money for them at all because it goes to resubstantiate what he had to pay in production costs, but they're print on demand books, so it shouldn't be that much. So support him if you can, guys. It's on Amazon. He has 7 books. There's 5 books in the series, and then he has 2 works of fiction, and they're called the Time Loop Chronicles. Yeah. And 1 and 2. And as Robert said, these are very elaborate books, very high level decoding. Clearly, this guy's divinely inspired. He's similar to Jeff Doherty in that he was raised, I think, a very fundamentalist by a fundamentalist preacher, and so he was in that. Yeah, he was in that form of the world, and then decoded all of this himself, and left that, of course,
with some help. But you know what he said too, I thought was interesting, is that we have that ability. Everybody does. And I've been reminding people that one of the problems here, or challenges that we face, is that most of us are programmed or conditioned to believe that someone is going to save us.
Yeah, I know.
Or give us all the information. It's like, here's the answer. And it's what I told you before. That's not how it works. There's no value to that. We don't really grow from that. So we have to go. We have a decoder ring in us, I guess. Right. That's a terrible analogy, but we were given that, a divine coder ring. Yeah, it's what the soul has. It's like a compass. We always know where true north is. Yeah. If we allow ourselves to feel that, we have to be connected on a soul level. We have to sort of go within and pay attention to those feelings, or the true feelings. Not all this false crap that's being thrown at us. It's like, this guy's right. No, this guy's wrong. That's nonsense. You have to tune all that out and just go within and feel from a very soul-centered place. Does this feel right or not? Because generally speaking, if it feels off, what they call the gut feeling, it's not really your gut. That's how they call it the solar plexus for a reason.
Exactly.
We have a very strong connection to our soul through we call it the stomach, but the body is just a bunch of energy patterns. Yeah. Avatar is.
It's through the chakra. It's through the.
Fine. Yeah. But what I found is that, since you brought it up, the soul actually has a chakra system as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And but it's not what we're shown. It's something completely different. And the reality is nothing is physical anyway, but this is important, because what we think of as physical is just wave patterns that are interacting with one another to create these sub patterns.
Right.
And that's where all the platonic solids come from. You can look at this. They call it a science. It's called cymatics. It's spelled with it. Right. Called cymatics, I believe.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah. In any case, it shows you, so you can take a speaker, put some paper on it, put some sand, and then you create a note or frequency, and then you modulate it, and you can see the sand kind of moving until it creates like these patterns. Well, that's what reality is. That's what these things are. These meat suits, whatever. All of this stuff. It's it's a construct. It's a matrix. Meaning, all that is just a grid. It's a grid of patterns that can be altered at any point in time, but they're not physical. Not the way we are programmed to believe. When you really break it down, there isn't anything physical. There's nothing solid about this matrix, because it can't be. Everything outside the matrix is not physical either. It's all consciousness. It's all spirit.
It's funny, you were just talking about your inner knowing, your soul, your gut feeling, whatever.
Yeah.
I always say this to people and people that I mentor and coach and stuff, that if you've ever thought back at every single time in your life, and obviously we can't always do this or instantly reflect on this, but how many times have you gone against your gut, first internal feeling, hunch, and ever been wrong? It's almost impossible, right? Yeah,
but there's a lot of pressure on us to deny our knowing, our true self, because by doing that, I really think that is ultimately sin, is to contradict yourself.
That's ego. Exactly. It's like why you can't look in the mirror. It's like why you can't look in the mirror. Most people are trained to not look in the mirror and say, wow, I look great. I celebrate who I am, because it's the truth. I mean, that's literally like, Mark Passio talks about the abandonment complex, that every human suffers from some psychosis, minor or major, of abandonment. Mommy and daddy issues as a child. They didn't get enough attention. They weren't loved. They weren't physically, intimately, whatever. There's something there that creates that. And that's exactly what you're talking about. It's that lack of trust, lack of love of self, that creates exactly what you just said, which is not to trust yourself, which is literally your soul, which is God.
It's a fragment of it. Yeah. It's like a spark of the divine. That's what the soul is. And so the truth is, I don't look like this. If you want, or neither do you. No. Souls, in fact, our souls are not fully looking, Robert. Well, it can appear as what it can take whatever shape, form it wants. Yes. It can project that. Why not? But the reality is that as seeds of light, we actually have a okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to see what that looks like, I created a graphic image of it on my website. It's usually at the bottom of the page, or if you go to the Matrix Exit, I actually made an animation. You can start to see the inside of past the radiant glow, these filaments of energy coming out of this seed.
Is that the article, The Matrix Exit?
Yeah, the article, The Matrix Exit. When you look and you start scrolling down, you'll see it asks, are you a soul or are you a program? And it shows the graphic there is actually, I made all that stuff. It's important it's like you talk about looking in the mirror. You want to see what you really look like. If you're a soul or a program is just code. And whereas a soul is sovereign.
Let's talk about that for a second. Because
sure, go ahead.
We were talking about that off the air, and I think it's very good for the group to listen to this.
Okay.
And obviously you said that Penella helped you with this, and honestly it helped me too, because as a person who's been, seeking my whole life, I'm almost 47. My story is I ran out of church at 7 years old, Catholic church, and my dad chased me out of the back, and that was it. I always knew, but it makes a lot more sense for people like you and I to now know that there are soulless humans or human beings or whatever you want to call them, wandering around the streets in positions of power, in positions of influence, and they're capable of doing these dastardly things like pedophilia, like child rape, like killing children, like whatever the F they do. And so when you understand it from that perspective, it makes a lot more sense, correct?
Yeah, but what I understand now, I've had to really think about this. I didn't ever want to believe that was what was happening, but okay. The thing is that not all the programs are evil. Remember, this is good and evil.
Right.
Okay, so you got to work with them. If they're good, they're designed, they're programmed to do good. And I say this because law enforcement has this issue as well. They're not exempt. So they're supposed to be there to help us and catch the bad guys when, in fact, we know that there's a lot of corruption and collusion going on within law enforcement, military, you name it. Every level of society or in the matrix has that dynamic.
Right.
And it's important we know that and act accordingly instead of just being naively going through it going, oh, well, they're here to protect us. So, yeah.
No, that's a really good point. I just got a funny comment or question for you. He says, is deja vu a glitch in the matrix or a holographic moment?
God. Yeah. Well, I mean, if we've been here, if we've been through the simulation multiple lifetimes, then yeah, some of that stuff is just like a memory. You know, the other thing that they do to us on a soul level is that they convince us that we need to forget about a previous life. They're like, I'm sure this is how this sales pitch is going. In order for you to be effective with this new family, you have to forget about the old one. Otherwise, you're going to constantly be having a conflict of interest. And so we're going to help you with that. You know, we're going to block all that out so that you can start fresh and really focus on working with these people now. I can't prove this stuff. Okay. This is my inner knowing. This is my feeling.
So I agree with you 100%. And I'll actually give you something to echo that and make it more transparent. So how about children?
Yeah.
Who have night terrors? Have you ever seen this?
Oh, yeah.
There it is right there, Robert. That's proof of what we're talking about. They are literally going through some form, in my opinion, and I've seen this physically with both of my daughters, where they're either being energetically coached by some other soul grouping that's trying to brainwash them and get them to be into this matrix life incarnation now, or they're dealing with the past experience and they don't know what is going on. I mean, I have seen my daughter in like a hallucinogenic trance-like state. And I've done, very open about this. I've done DMT, MEO twice. I'm very familiar with those ethnogenetic experiences. And I've seen my daughter at 2 and my other daughter at 3 deal with this. And I'm watching this standing in their bedroom. And I'm like, what the F is going on?
Yeah. Well, okay. So the Catholic Church would call that possession or the incubus and succubus, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it's all part of these programs that, because somebody asked me about this before. I think it was Rex the other day. It's in the chat room. We're only remotely connected to these avatars.
Right.
These are not us. And other forms of entities or controls or programs can access this because this is part of the matrix. These bodies are not us. And they're easily hacked, remotely controlled, and influenced. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's very gross. I mean, it's just... Yeah. They know this, by the way. It's sort of like a backdoor in a computer. They know they can get into this thing and manipulate it. So if we've come to believe certain lies, when they do that, we don't react. We don't say, hey, I'm in here now. This is my contract. I signed up to be this character this time around. You're violating my contract, back off. We have that ability. But they don't want us to know this stuff. I wouldn't call it cheating. They're just, they're taking advantage of our naivete.
Yeah.
And because they are weak, they're not truly divine, in my opinion.
Right.
They become something profane. And that's a very important word in our language. It's one of the things that I suggest or recommend when a person or a soul wakes up and said, whoa, I want to get out of here. Well, first of all, you have to wait for your time. Making the choice to leave, that's your choice to make, nobody else's. But there's a preparatory process you have to go through so that when your contract is done, it's your time to let go of this matrix and this particular avatar. The process is pretty simple, but it takes effort. It takes focus. You got to really work at it every day, letting go of your emotional connections realizing that most of this stuff is not that important.
Sure.
Obviously, family and friends, yeah, being good to them, helping them, supporting them, that's up there. That's a priority. But a lot of this other stuff, like my guitars and whatever, stuff like that, sports. Yeah, those are just distractions they want like little things. They want to like anchor you here.
Right.
So, but anyway, the bottom line is, I say in the article, and I'm saying to you, embrace the divine. Reject the profane, because we're surrounded by it every day. Like, I don't care about Harvey Weinstein. Okay. That's his hell that he is living in. Exactly. He chose that. He didn't have to choose that, but he chose it. Right. So I want us to focus on that shit every day.
So just real quick about that. And I want to stay over there because we're really going deep on things right here. It is always a choice, is it not?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
They cannot sovereignly suppress our free will to choose.
Right, but they are very good at sophistry, meaning that they can they create this false narrative, and we're so confused. It's like we're making choices based on their lies, and there's multiple. They're constantly layering it out, and so you're like, well, I'll choose door number 2. It's like, woo.
Do you believe, and this is just an opinion question, do you believe that it's possible to become fabulously, famously, maybe even better adjective, wealthy without being corrupted?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Sure. Yeah. But I mean, and there's people that do that, but typically their motivation is to be good, to do good. The thing is that most of us think that wealth is supposed to buy us all these comforts and pleasures. Right. When in fact, it is supposed to be reciprocal.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, it's because honestly, there shouldn't be any, there's plenty of, even in the Matrix, there's plenty of resources to go around for everyone.
Well, and the truth about currency too is it's energetic.
Yeah, that's why they call it currency, because it's a current. It's useless unless it's spent. It has to flow.
Yes.
Cash flow has to be going in order for it to be current or currency.
And isn't it hilarious? This is so brilliant, by the way, but isn't it like, again, it's taken me a long time to realize this, because I've been a millionaire in my early 30s and lost it all. Most of the people in the group know my story. My ex-wife put me in jail. I built myself from ashes. I've been at the top of the mountain, been at the bottom of the ocean. But like, I realize now that the fear of, or the rejection of currency or money or whatever you want to look at it, blocks you more than like being able to, because once you've made it, it's easy to make it again because you know how to get there, right? Like you coded it, so it's easy for you to get there. But the rejection of it as an evil process or as a something, however you label it, a labeling or a judgment of it, blocks it worse than just allowing it to come to you because you're just like, oh, I'm open and free about it. Like you said, it's energy.
Yeah, and I know people, they become, as you said, very pious. They martyr themselves, thinking that somehow that gives them some, elevates them within the matrix or in heaven, and that's not the case at all. It's just it's what you do with it. But it's like electricity. Look, electricity is great. We're using it right now for a lot of things, but could it kill you? Yeah. Obviously, or kill your avatar, was zap you right out of existence. So, it's like anything. Everything here is good and evil. The money can be used for good, and it is. I do. I mean, I don't give to charities. I don't give to charities and churches because
I don't give to churches because I don't believe in churches.
Well, it's not just that, but typically because they're easily corrupted. Most every human institution is corrupt.
Yes.
And when they, like these charities, even the Red Cross, they take like 90% of the money for themselves.
Bro, the only person that I donate to is a guy that I literally can physically touch on the street who's asking for help.
Or sometimes I've sent money to friends that I knew that were hurting.
That's the same thing.
Or look, I helped John Pinella. When I first read his books, I thought, okay, and he needed a little bit of money for to support his the cost of the website and whatever else he was doing. Something with I understand. I do that myself. So I sent him $100 US. And I know it helped out because almost immediately somebody else like, oh, I'll send some, and then boom, he was where he needed to be, and that was good.
That's awesome.
You know, because he helped me, I'll help you. Well, fine, that's good. Reciprocity.
Yeah, that's reciprocity. Yeah, and that literally
it's actually symbiosis. Okay, that's what. See, this is the thing. Outside the matrix, there isn't any competition. There's no parasitic behavior. There's no predatory parasitic behavior. As far as I know, everything outside the matrix is just copacetic. It's cool. Everybody gets along. It's all family. Why would you prey on your family members, right?
Outside of the matrix is Star Trek, right? Where you can just simulate what you need instantaneously.
Well, we can do that here too, but that would not be advantageous to the system.
Yeah. Because the system is a corporation.
It is, but it's corrupt from the top down. I break it down in the article, Sacrifice in Sin City.
Right.
I show exactly what it says right on the back of the dollar bill, that great seal. That's a Luciferian's logo. Excuse me. That's Lucifer's corporate logo. It's a magic sigil that people carry around, not even knowing that they're supporting the corporation. His matrix. It's just stated right there, but most people we don't have the proper context to see it. So I just kind of decoded it, and there it is.
So how much do you agree with Pinella from a standpoint of how he says that Lucifer is, as above, and Satan is so below, and this is Satan's domain? And now Pinella has sent, according to Pinella, Trump has been sent by Lucifer in the good and evil game to show up as good and, right the American, the new Atlantis ship and take us away from transhumanism and globalism, the new world order, blah, blah, blah. But eventually it's going to all unravel because good becomes evil again. How much of that do you buy?
I'm not paying attention to that. I'm really busy. I'm focused on what I can do to help other people see through the lies. Politics is just nonsense to me. Yeah, there's no end to it. Every time you find, for example, I know what's going on, but I just don't engage in it.
Right.
This latest thing with the Russian revelation that, it was actually the Democrats who were in bed with the Russians doing uranium deals and cash under the table. And, well, no kidding. Really?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, that's not, it doesn't surprise me. I've known all about the Clintons since back in
you have to be retarded.
Back in the day, right? I lived through all of that.
Yeah.
So, but and Reagan wasn't any different. The guy was completely corrupt. They're all corrupt.
It's all the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, but I'll tell you one thing. As I was doing this thing about writing about the Patsy, that and the connection, the parallel to the JFK, RFK nonsense, the lone gunman, right? Yeah. It took me back to I had to review that, and it led me to the research of a guy named Miles Mathis.
Right.
I don't know. Have you read his
stuff? I watched your podcast the other day. And I was talking to like 3 or 4 of my friends, and we were all so mind blown to think about how it goes back to what you said, how they plant ideas in our mind that, okay, the plant is that most aware people think that, or not think, but assume to know that JFK, there was a conspiracy, right? But
right.
The reality of the conspiracy is no one thinks that, JFK planned his own conspiracy.
Right. And this is the thing, we can't completely discount that possibility.
Bro, I actually think it's legit. When you said that and I watched that show, it resonated so sharp down my spine, I started getting blown up.
Yeah, well, okay. So again, I'll send you the link, but Miles Mathis, it's a little obscure, the website, but that's how I ended up. Actually, I was, like I said, I do this every day. I'll do keyword searches and it takes me in places that because I'm just completely open. I used to surf a lot when I was younger, and it's just, that's how it is. You can't force the wave to do what you want. You have to flow with the wave.
Right.
So I got really good at just going with it.
Right.
And that's when they call surfing the web. The way I do it is I guess it's a whole nother level, because it takes me to places like I wasn't even expecting. I type in a keyword or two and then I end up somewhere else. I'm like, holy crap.
So who is Miles Mathis? Who is he?
He's an artist, but he's a brilliant researcher, because for whatever reason, okay, this guy has really got a very logical mind, and he doesn't accept. He wants to see behind the screen. Like I was saying before the other day, I was talking about, if we were watching a movie and we saw everybody behind the camera as well, it would ruin the illusion. Well, he's that guy. He's like, hey, you remember this movie? Well, guess what? Here's what it looks like behind the scenes. I'm like, oh my God, that's really shocking, but it makes a lot of sense because now I can see how motivation they have the motive and they have the means to do these things.
Absolutely. Like you said, it's the Kennedy family money. I mean, they have unlimited resources to pull this off.
Yeah, but they're connected to the Illuminati. Obviously, they're part of that. They're not connected to it. They are it. And they present this persona like we're philanthropic. We really care about the little guy. And no, they're just basically tending the flock, was us. And they're making sure that too many of us don't escape from the matrix. Right. And, they want us to believe the lie. So they create these personas. So it's a lie on top of a lie on top of a lie. It's a web of lies, basically, is what it is. And the media has been not just complicit. They are part of it. Like I said, the media and military intelligence media complex is for me, that's the most accurate way of describing what's going on when we watch television or movies.
I think you left out the word entertainment. Somehow you got to mogrify that in there.
I guess, but it's not. See that none of that. This is the thing. When I was doing as I'm writing the Paddock papers, I realized that they seed predictive programming. It's so-called entertainment is really all about getting us to see things the way they want us to. Yeah. Okay, so to me, that's not entertainment. No, that's mind control. Actually, it's called entrainment. Yeah, brain. That's the difference. They're entraining our brain waves to go a certain way that is advantageous to the Luciferian agenda.
So is the Luciferian agenda, and you and I, and you haven't read it obviously, but again, I put this book up there. I highly recommend guys watching this. This is JPF, and everybody knows Joseph Patrick Farrell, but he wrote this book in 2011, and it's literally a play-by-play book of what's going on right now with this Luciferian agenda, the transhumanism movement. But how would you define what the Luciferian agenda is, like roughly, like 100,000-foot summary?
Okay, I wrote an article about that. It's 2 pages. It's very lengthy. It's called Technocide. Right. And I feel that's an accurate one-word description of what they're trying to do to us. So merge humans with AI, essentially. Right. They're going to phase out this level of Homo sapien and create something different, the transhumanist. Yeah. Or the they've got different names for it, but cyborg. Right. Whatever. Right. Yeah. But it's going to be a terrible conflict, and our species, as they like to say, isn't going to go quietly. They've already prepped us for this with movies like Terminator. Yeah. And the show Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, Battlestar Galactica, Cylons, yes. So I'm not going to participate in it. I'm well aware of what they're trying to do. I don't know if they'll be successful at it, but it's just part. The thing about the Matrix is it's got many levels, and so they have to keep upping the game, but it's still the game. Yeah. It's always this little conflict game. So you're like, oh, I finished level 1. All right, well, let's try level 2. So, but they bring in the new bad guys that they're stronger, smarter, whatever, and you got to fight with them now. And you're gonna, yeah, sure. But it develops skills. I mean, right? You're a fitness guy. You know that you can't just go out there and max out. You got to build up. You got to build up by levels and degrees. It's like that. Well, it's like you said. It's the consistency approach. You got to do the work, even the internal work, the resonation, the learning, the awareness. It doesn't come without seeking and pursuing higher truths, right? Like it's the whole Aristotle axiom, the most noblest pursuit is that of truth. I mean, there is nothing more noble or more quote unquote righteous than to do it. But so many people are so dumbed down by the Matrix and what they're, the tuning from the mainstream and the bullshit and, news and media and all that stuff. And by the way, I was going to ask you this. It's so funny because you just said that, but do you think that social media was the greatest
paradigm shift or construct for the Luciferians to really get their machinations in line? I mean, to put us in the mode where we are now, we're literally like we're on a beeline to it, right?
Yeah, but see, unintended consequences.
Right.
This always happens. The social media is now anti-social media,
Right.
but it does serve a purpose. Not only does it allow them to spy on everybody more readily because we just all open up ourselves, or every intimate detail is now digital, but it also has everybody arguing, around the entire planet now. Everybody's, competing, not competing, but arguing about stupid shit that's really not important. Nonsense. So that's a huge distraction. But what did you ask me? Something else? Damn it, I forgot I was going to tell you.
Well, I mean, with that is the end game now. Obviously, we know that the cyborgs is the end game right now, but is the short-term end game revolution internally in North America?
Oh, you mean a civil war? Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So the unintended consequence of that is that, and they're going to do it, because see, they think by doing that, killing people and making them compete even harder, that they can control more souls and keep them in the matrix. However, by doing that, you wake up a lot of souls in the process. They're like, whoa, hey, wait a second. You're lying your ass off, okay? You can stop telling me about lone gunmen, okay? Everybody else is talking about multiple shooters, multiple locations. Why is the official story this shit again? We're not going to believe you, And so, on some level, now you're like, wait a second, who's telling the truth here? Where am I going to find some accurate answers? And that's when a soul starts to wake up. They're like, wait a minute. And they watch shows like this. They start reading books like what you just showed. Yeah. And they start talking to friends and whatever. And then they just start to, the veil just slowly lifts from. They're like, whoa. Ooh. Yeah, I don't think I want to be here anymore. So, because you can't fix it. And you come to that awareness. It's just like, no. This was never designed to be anything other than it is. And yeah, it's been a freaking fun ride, I guess. I mean, it's like I said, it's service. You're right. You come out of it. Hey, look, if you survive it, or whatever, after you've gone through a few levels of this, you come out of it a completely different soul, right? Definitely, you got some spiritual muscle or something, some skill level that you've acquired from all these challenges that you've gone through.
100%.
But do you want to live like this forever? No, obviously not. This isn't real anyway. I mean, we go to school to learn, but it's not real. It's virtual stuff. You got to leave the classroom in order to live in the real world.
Well, do you think, and I want to seek this too, I want to get a little bit of an Anunnaki discussion in this, but because I had to bring that up. But do you see this then to that point that you just made? I don't even know how to ask the question. The real world is the real world. Do you believe that our souls, so for you, people like you and me, people in this group, aware, know that the matrix isn't the truth. Have we lived many lives, in many incarnations, and our souls are just now at this level? Or do you think a soul is able to evolve and to become aware with maybe one life or one incarnation?
That's a good question. I really don't know. I mean, a lot of this stuff is fairly new. I only came across Pinella's stuff a few months ago. I read it very quickly. In fact, I was reading it every day and night. I was just like, whoa.
1 week, I read all 5 of the books.
Okay, so I'm not the only one. But I've been thinking about it quite a bit, like you have. And I really don't know the answer to that. I think it's not, look, in a schoolroom setting, we go as a group, we go as a class, and we are in there and we graduate together. I don't think it's like that for souls. No. But because I think you go at your own rate. It's very customized to the growth of that particular soul. It's not as.
That makes the most sense if we do choose these meat suits, and we make a pact before we enter these physical, like you said, fake forms, matter forms. It makes the most sense. It does make the most sense that we are evolving at our own rate and speed, and that no soul is evolving, bilaterally as another. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, but we're still all connected too. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's right. Like
I know
it's a
that. I've seen
holographic spark, right? It's a holographic spark, and it all
Well,
goes back.
We are all connected. All our souls outside the matrix are connected to each other through a web of light. I was shown that.
Yes.
And that was some point. And it was very brief, but it was really very profound. When I saw it, I was like, what is it? Wait a second. What am I seeing here? Because it was all in my head, but it was so clear. It was actually more clear than what I'm seeing with my eyes in my mind or soul, whatever. I was seeing this web. I mean, the closest thing I've ever seen to it was that movie Avatar, you know, when they said that the whole planet was alive and it was kind of connected. They didn't, it's the closest I think I've ever seen, you know, through the tree,
Yeah.
all that stuff. That was
the tree of life, by the way.
That was the tree of life. And they were doing all these metaphors and whatnot. So we all are growing. The problem is our growth has been stunted. The souls that came here as seeds, this was not you can do this to seeds. I've actually done this I used to grow pot. Okay. Big deal.
It's okay,
It's just a plant. All right. But there's
Robert.
I grew up in Malibu in the 60s. Come on, everybody was doing it.
Hold on, newsflash. It's legal in California.
Now it's legal. Wow. As if it was ever. It's a freaking plant. The point is this: if you take the seed and if it goes through harsh conditions, when it comes out, when it finally starts to grow,
right,
it's a completely different plant. I mean, it really is so much different. They do this with grapes too. You know, they have this really rocky, harsh, chalky soil in France that produces a completely different type of grape.
Right.
Which then they turned into wine. So I feel it's the same for our souls, that by coming here, we have, it alters us on some level, in some way, these challenges, this harshness. Yes, it's prohibiting us from just blooming. Oh, I've actually seen this in other plants too. I love plants. I love gardening. But so if you have a plant in a pot for a long time, it's called being root bound.
Right.
It can get all like stunted really bad. But if it's still alive, you take it out of that pot, you put it in the ground. Whoa! After a little while, it recovers, and it becomes something completely different than if it spent its whole life in the ground.
Right.
Right? Like that.
Fascinating.
Yeah, boot camp, whatever you want to call it. I'm just saying that it's not for nothing. All right. There's something coming out of all this.
Yeah, no. I mean, I totally agree with you. So just real quick, because there's so many people asking me questions about the audio.
I bet.
Right. But I mean, if they want you to answer it. So, like, in your opinion, 100,000-foot summary, are the Anunnaki just, again, we know that they come in many names and many cultures.
Yeah.
I mean, is that all it really is?
Yeah, I mean, you'd sent me an email about this before we spoke, but yes, I think that in the Matrix, Lucifer has created all these little characters.
Yes,
but of course he as a soul, I believe he is a soul that naturally he had to come from parents, just like we all did.
Right.
Because souls do have parents. That I knew, and my analogy was always, and I'm sure this is why Penella sent me these books, because I always talked about we're seeds. But where do seeds come from? They have to come from a tree, right? The tree matures, it drops the seed. The seed grows into a tree, and it drops more seeds. I mean, this is really basic, but
it is.
Why wouldn't the heavenly spiritual realms why would they be any different than what we consider to be natural? They have to be organic. They have to be natural. So it's almost stating, I mean, it really is overstating the obvious, but it's trying to put things into proper context instead of getting caught up in all this crap, is seeing through the lies. But I forgot what are we talking about?
Anunnaki, who they were.
Oh, the Anunnaki. Yeah. So, all right. So all these characters that are supposedly competing, Lucifer likes to present himself as a victim. In fact, in the show, the Fox show,
yep.
Lucifer.
By the way, I haven't watched that show. I want to get your take on that. Is that the story of him?
No. Well, sort of. I mean, it's a twist. It's like everything. It's actually public relations. This is a Lucifer Lucifer.
This is him telling, like, he's letting us know that he's coming back.
Well, the newest episode is called "What Would Lucifer Do?" No, he's not. Yeah, in a way, you're right. No, he's come back. He's left hell. He's in Los Angeles. He's in Hollywood. He's opened a nightclub. He's working with the LAPD. This particular female detective that he's fond of, that he's working with, she lives in Malibu. Her mom is a freaking movie star. It's like, what? Wait, hi. Okay, yeah, I'm sure these guys, these writers don't listen to me at all, right? They just thought of that on their own. Okay, whatever. Yeah, exactly. I don't care. The bottom line is this. What would Lucifer do? He would create his own television show, presenting himself as this.
Good and evil.
Right, exactly. But what it says in the latest episode is the devil's not evil.
Right.
He punishes people who are evil because they deserve it.
Well, the X-Files episode. The X-Files episode with Paddock, helping Fox, Mulder, and Scully as the devil, or, one of the devil's minions.
Yeah.
In your article, the Shakespearean, the Paddock code. But there it is. It's right there. There was 1994.
Look, one of the first season of Lucifer, I just found this clue a couple of days ago and put it in my next article. Lucifer, as I told you, is now working with the LA Police Department. He works with a particular detective, a female from Malibu. He tells it right. He says to her, detective, I've heard it's a rite of passage for all new detectives to go to a cop bar. And guess what the name of it is? The Paddock.
The Paddock. Unbelievable.
And what do they do there? They go there and take shots of tequila at the Paddock. So they're actually shooting tequila at the Paddock. Now, this was a couple of years ago that this came out. Amazing. But I've got screen captures of it. It'll absolutely blow your mind, because the first picture that they released, how do they manage to get this picture of Stephen Paddock looking like the Joker from the Batman with green hair and his eyes are closed, and he is shooting tequila at a bar. Paddock at a bar shooting tequila. And in fact, in this episode of Lucifer, where he's sitting there and with the detective who's on duty shooting tequila at the Paddock, she talks to him about making a deal with the devil. She says, are you talking about making a deal with, because she was talking about corrupt cops. She says, you talking about making a deal? He says, absolutely. And she goes, well, she asked him something. Anyway, he tells her, he goes, everybody takes the deal. There's nobody that's ever not taking the deal with me.
Right.
Well, there you go again. He's saying like, hey, they're just telling you everybody here has made a deal. We agreed to come to his domain. We're all at his freaking nightclub. Yeah, pretty wild stuff, man.
Amazing. So they're literally just like tweaking time. Well, then, I mean, we could go on and discuss that too, because, I mean, remember the Simpson episode from 1994 that showed the exact electoral college vote that Trump would have when he won the election.
Yeah. It's all scripted. It's like, look, it's the Truman Show.
Amazing.
But it's all based on lies.
But do you think, though, the people that are involved, obviously whatever you want to call them, the corporate media, Hollywood, Agalopolis complex, I mean, are the ones at the top, like Mike Judd or whoever the Simpson guy was? I think it's Mike Judd. Do they have any idea that they're involved in this?
It was Sam Goring, the guy that actually wrote the original cartoons that became The Simpsons. They were called...
Whoever it was.
No, I used to read it in L.A. When I lived in L.A. It was called Life in Hell.
Life in Hell, yeah.
2 rabbits. They had these, the rabbits.
So do you think he knows, though? Do you think that...
I don't think Matt Goring does, no. No, but a lot of people in Hollywood don't know that they're part of something.
They're being puppeteered, right?
Yeah. I mean, the people that do know, they call them the Grigori. I mean, it's another name for the watchers, and they're well aware of who's really running the show, and they never cross them because, like Weinstein, he made a deal with the devil.
He did,
but that was his deal. That's not everybody's deal. Not everybody in Hollywood is like that. It's unfortunate, but most of them are, because the ultimate reason for it, they call it Hollywood is considered considered the entertainment capital of the world, not just America.
No, yeah, of
but
course.
was shaping the opinion of people all over.
Yeah.
right? And it still has that ability, more or less. Now that the alternative media has come online, like what we're doing here, Hollywood is becoming more inconsequential by the moment.
Yeah, less
and they
influence.
know it. They're kind of freaking out that they don't have that kind of moxie anymore. By the way, people in Hollywood, fuck you.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
honestly, I know you watch my stuff. I don't care. You read me, you listen to my shit. It's fine. And you don't give me credit. You don't want me to be in your club. I don't care because I'm not interested in what you do. All right. I've had producers call me and spend time with me on the phone and like, oh, we're going to do this show about disclosure. You know what? Fuck you. You don't even know what's real. Yeah. You guys do shows about shit you don't know. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, you're right. You're 100%.
This
right.
is a place where I can just vent for a minute. You know,
Yeah,
I really feel bad for these people that they're so clueless. They are the blind leading the blind. We're going to put together another television show that's going to, you know, disclose this. No, they don't. They really don't. And it kind of pisses me off when they contact me, they want me to participate.
Yeah.
It's fine because we've got this. And it's one of the reasons I do these, you know, I come on like these different characters. I want people to think about things. The Jedis in Star Wars is real. It's the Matrix, you know, and the Jedis are real, but they use their mind control to, you know, for good. Whereas the Sith Lords are messing with people's minds all the time because they're evil.
So how much does George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, how much do they really know? And before you answer, they have to know something, right? Because Lucas built the Death Star, and obviously the Death Star is a working model of Iapetus. So
Yeah.
I mean, like, what do they know? I mean, we know that, you know, from the quote unquote conspiracy stories, we know that you know, Stanley Kubrick knew a lot.
Yeah.
So
No,
how
what do you
many
mean
of
a
these
lot?
guys are in this Masonic, you know, league or Masonic level of initiate where they know something? What is your opinion?
Well, it would depend on the individual. I spoke to Spielberg when I was working at the beach there because he had a house there and I saw him around and, you know, he said, we were talking about aliens. He said, well, why do you think, or UFOs? He says, well, yeah, why do you think I made ET and Close Encounters? He says, yeah, I believe in that stuff. Right. But that was the end of it. I don't know how much he knows or other people in the industry know as far as Lucas or what that franchise became, that multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Right.
They gave credit to Lookout Mountain and Laurel Canyon,
right,
for part of their production. Which, for people who don't know, you should check it out on Google. Lookout Mountain and Laurel Canyon. That was a military film studio where they made propaganda films, and they closed it down at some point. But because they didn't need it anymore, they were busy working directly with the studios. I think they've always have.
No, for sure, bro. The CIA has been involved in Hollywood since literally the inception.
Yeah. Especially during wartime industry. Yeah, exactly. So so it all serves a purpose, which is to control public perception, right, shape our thinking, our thought process. It is mind control. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
It's very blatant too when you look through it. You can see through it. And I'm sure that's, even though I'm sorry I was ranting at these guys, I know I've had some really bad experiences going when I actually set foot either in West Hollywood or North Hollywood at these various places in these studios. I was the square peg in a round hole. I could not force myself to fit in with these people, and it confused me. I was wondering, it's like, look,
people as a loose term.
Whatever, yeah, okay, but I could just feel there was something really like oil and water going on with me, with them, us. We just didn't. There was no simpatico, man. These guys, I couldn't. And women, we were so completely different.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird because, like I said, I grew up in Malibu around Hollywood people.
Yeah.
Producers, writers, actors, you name it. I was friends with Ally McGraw for a number of years, and her son. Nice. Her son was Robert Evans. That was his dad. They were living with Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen actually was the guy that really got me the job as the head of security.
That's awesome.
On the beach, because he told them, he said, that guy should be running things. Awesome. The only reason he said that, from what I didn't ever talk to him about, I knew his son, Chad. But the only thing is that It's because I was going around showing some initiative. I was picking up trash off the beach because I had a lot of spare time. I mean, I was there to basically herd people away from the private property,
Right.
so they didn't sit there and for too long on the in front of the houses.
Right. Loiter. Yep.
Well, it's not that. Look, there's a whole technical reason for this, but legally, if they didn't do that over time, see, they could walk across, but as soon as they sat down, if you didn't stop them from doing that, eventually all that area would become public domain. Even though that they owned it, there was this loophole. There was this crazy ass loophole, for these $1 million homes.
People's Republic of California, bro.
Whatever. I mean, it was a really big issue, and it pissed off a lot of people. A lot of people got mad at me for working that job.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is this: McQueen saw me going around picking up trash because I had time to do it. And I just hated to see the trash on the beach. And sometimes it was ridiculous. The whole thing, the tide would bring it in. Massive amount. The whole, wet sand would be covered in trash. And so I would go out there and pick it up and put it where the Los Angeles County workers could come pick up the bags. And like the homeowners association told me, they're like, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I know that, but nobody else is doing it. And they're like, oh, no, the tide will take it out eventually. And I said, I don't think so. I mean, Jesus, this is a beautiful beach. I grew up here. I don't want to see this crap. Come on. So the other thing that really cemented it, even though McQueen had told them that, they should hire me to run the thing, because the security company I was working for was kind of loopy. I mean, seriously, even the guy that running it, he was on drugs all the time. And people were just, God, it was a free-for-all. It was just a mind-blowing nut house. But
and you were in your early 20s, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I knew everybody because I grew up in that neighborhood, but it caused a lot of conflict, by the way. Right. Like, who the hell are you, Robert? Who do you think you are? What are you, fucking Nazi? Why are you telling me to, get off the beach? It's like, no, I mean, seriously, there's a lot of people wanting to kick my ass, and fortunately it didn't work out that way. But okay, at one point I did find a dead guy washed up on the beach. He'd been shot, and it turned out he was a law student from Pepperdine University that got involved with some narco mafia guys, and they killed him. And I mean, it's really stupid what he did. He chose to do this, get involved with these guys, and they killed him and dumped him, and he washed up on the beach. He was actually living on the beach there. He was renting a room from one of the people there. So I called the cops. They came, picked up the body, and then now the homeowners association, for whatever reason, that was the final straw. They're like, okay, we're gonna put you in charge of security for the whole beach. We're firing the security company, which really pissed them off. Really pissed them off big time, because they thought they had a lock on it. I wasn't trying to do this, by the way. I was just working for them. It was a summer job. Anyway, that's what happened. That's how come I was there so much. That was my whole summer gig for like 4 solid months of the year. I was there every day, running everything for them. And just this year, I think you heard me say this before, but I just got the news like the other day. This summer, a guy shot himself in the head and washed up on that beach, that same beach, and exactly that same location. Crazy. And there was another guy that jumped the same day as the shooting during the day, October 1st, the same day as the shooting in Vegas. Some guy jumped out of a helicopter
into the ocean.
Malibu, jumped right into the ocean, killed himself. That same day, Tom Petty had a heart attack, probably from ODing on heroin. And just recently, I heard one of my buddies that I grew up with in Malibu, he killed himself. So that's 4 men just this year that I know of. It's probably more, because that's just how it rolls. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the whole Hollywood facade, the whole Malibu murder, mind control nonsense, all that stuff, suicides, it's real. And that's what I'm working. I really want to finish that book and get it out there, because it'll be the final nail in the coffin for Hollywood/Malibu.
So real quick to wrap this up. And by the way, dude, this has been an epic podcast. I asked some people some questions. I truly appreciate you staying on this. There's a lot of rabbit holes. In your opinion, what is the next? How do I phrase this? Is there going to be a major event? You talked about the second coming, the blue beam, whatever you want to refer to it as. Is there going to be a major event in the next year, or are we going to see the next 5 to next 10 years, like drastic wholesale change around the world, in your opinion?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. It's why do you think they corrupted the entire monetary system?
Yeah.
They're going to reset it with something else.
Right.
Probably some digital. I mean, it's already digital. They just don't want us to understand that fiat money doesn't really exist.
Right. Cryptocurrency. Right.
It's all been, look, every digital every dollar that you see is accounted as a digit in a computer right now.
Right. Exactly. And it's lent out at 13 times.
Yeah. It's
actual form.
So how easy is it to flip the switch on that? But it'll be, so again, this is how they work. It's the protocol is order from chaos.
Right,
they create chaos, then they put in a new order. It's the old Hegelian doctrine, what they call thesis, antithesis, antithesis, synthesis.
Right.
Left, right, middle. They pull us. They gotta listen. You look here. No, we're going to take you down the middle, and you won't even know because you're so busy looking over here. It's like this is typical magic, misdirection.
Yeah, conquer, right.
Yeah, but that's what I pointed out in this article, Sacrifice in Sin City, man. It's all magic. The Magi are the Jedi. They are. They're constantly playing games with our minds and distracting us and confusing and controlling us. But it's falling apart. It really is. So
you're positive then for humanity. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not saying.
Oh yeah. It's going to be good and evil. It's not good. That's not going to change. Yeah. Are things going to get really hairy? Yeah. Because they have to set it up that way. You probably heard me say before, people are not going to buy into that level of lie unless they're like desperately thinking, "Whoa, help, save me." Right? Because when you're fat, dumb, and happy sitting in your little square, you're like, don't bother me with this stuff. I don't want to be saved. I'm sitting here watching TV and having snacks. Damn it. Leave me alone.
So true, man.
That's just human behavior.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. So define evil and good. So and I'll just set it up because I always my brain likes to see things. I know that.
Yeah. No, it's a good question. It's a very good question.
Well, is evil a lot of a Georgia Guidestones things where the population gets massively reduced, or is evil civil war, internal strife, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth shit?
It's has multiple levels.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like there's various degrees of being hot and various degrees of being cold.
Right.
All right. So there's various levels of evil, but essentially it is being of service to self as opposed to being service to others.
Exactly.
So one is parasitic, the other one is symbiotic. Very good question, man, because people need to understand this is a dynamic. This is part of the conflict. These are the two sides that are competing with one another. And we can choose to go either way. Most of the time we're kind of like in between and kind of, experiencing both or doing both or whatever at some point. Okay. Right. I'm not perfect. I've screwed up. I've done some. But generally speaking, I think of myself as a good person. I've done a lot of good things whenever possible. When I'm presented with the opportunity, I choose to do good.
Right.
So, yeah. So it's really a matter of choice. But there isn't any other choices here. See, that's the thing.
Right.
You can't just be neutral. And this is the thing I kind of ended with Rex. Like he's been asking me a lot of people ask me, hey, don't retire. Yeah, I'm tired of doing this. Okay. But yeah, I get it now. I get it. Okay. I'm here. While I'm here, I should be doing what I'm doing because I'm really good at seeing through the lies and sharing that revelation with people. And we need it. They need it now.
Yeah.
More than ever. And I can't just go in all good conscience. I just can't go,
I'm done.
I'd like to be, but there isn't any refuge.
My physical form, Jay, doesn't want to talk to you anymore.
No, it's not that. I mean, while I do get tired of answering the emails, I really appreciate the fact that people reach out to me like that. And I'm sincerely doing my best to respond. But it takes like an hour or two a day to go through these emails. And they're not just emails. These are people. These are souls that are like reaching out going, hey, can you please help me?
Help. Yeah, help.
There's something bothering me, or I got another question. But it's not that, man. It's like if I went someplace, and there's some beautiful places here in Southeast Asia, but let me tell you, I mean, Thailand, Phuket, beautiful. God, man.
I've been to Phuket. It's amazing.
Okay, so would you like to hang out on the beach for a while and just unplug from all this crap? Yeah. But it's still the Matrix.
Yeah.
But there's there is no forever.
The Matrix.
Yeah. So here's what I know. Outside the Matrix, think of Phuket on steroids, like to the max and beyond. It's just like, okay, do I want to live like that? Yeah. Eventually my soul will go to a place or create a place where it's just like the surf is perfect. The water's clean. It's warm. It's like everybody's friendly. The food's great, whatever. Okay. It's all good. And I'm like, okay. So I do the work. Then I go, I'm good. That's where I'm going to end up at some point. Call it heaven. I don't care. Nirvana, Disneyland. It doesn't matter what you call it. Shambhala.
Yep.
I'm there. Part of me is already there. I'm like, yeah, I've got the ticket. My bags are packed. I'm just waiting for the moment when I'm done here. Yeah. But in the meantime, it would be wrong of me to just say, this is too much work or whatever. Honestly, the reason I was wanting to back out is because I'm getting older and I got, my parents are getting old, my dogs, everything's getting old, and I'm thinking I need to spend more time with my family. But I've kind of worked it out. I'm good. I just letting everybody know I'm being completely transparent. My life, I have nothing to hide. There's no reason for me to hide anything. But I've kind of let you in on my thought process why I wanted to retire. It was not just being selfish. I'm at that point in my life. My parents are going to pass away in the next 10 years, probably. My dog's only got, he's 16 and a half. It's amazing. He's a Sheltie.
Oh, wow.
He's survived cancer already once, and he's good. For his age, he's great, but it's like, so I have to kind of prepare myself for, I don't know how good I'm going to be when I'm grieving the loss of parents, my dog, my son's grown up. He's graduated college. It's like,
right.
I'm going through some personal shit. Honestly, sure. It's not bad. It's just, it's hard for me to do this kind of work and also be focused on my family, but I'll figure it out.
That's awesome, man. No,
Jay, I think this is really important. Okay. I think you probably heard me say this before. This is very important. We're not just having idle chatter here. This isn't entertainment.
No.
Although sometimes I look kind of funny. I say weird shit, but the truth is that these conversations are helping a lot of people. I know, because from the feedback I get, this is helping people like see things differently.
Robert, trust me, brother. I have a huge life in the Matrix. Like, this is my passion.
Okay.
Like, I literally live to help other people to make, and I know it's not my responsibility,
right?
But I feel a calling to talk to people like you, to share my truths, to share what I've learned, to share what resonates with me. So this is my gift in life, is to be able to talk to amazing people like you, and like you said, and just share it with the world. I don't have to do this. I have a very good life in the Matrix, right? But like, the Matrix isn't who I am. Like you said,
right,
this is
right.
just a meat suit. It's an avatar being.
Yeah, well, but it is a vehicle for us to have these experiences. And more importantly, you know what? When we're challenged, it's like, okay, so it's like adding more weight to the bar. You're like, oh, Jesus, I can't lift this, When things are completely nuts, like what's going on in Vegas and the fires and all this, whatever, they're going to blow up Korea and all this crap. It's being calm, being kind, and being creative. If you can do one or all three of those things, it sounds really simple. I guarantee it's not. I struggle with it.
Being kind and being creative. That's all.
Yeah, it sounds okay. It's like, I know a lot of people have said to themselves, what is this guy? He's freaking stoned. He's nuts. But it's true. Try it. It's hard. Okay. It's hard for a reason. We're challenged. They don't make it easy. But if you choose to be like that here under those conditions, you become very, very strong as a soul. It actually, I feel like it's part of the preparatory process for getting out.
Yeah.
I think that if you focus on those things, because those are things that we can do anytime, anywhere. It's not about money. It's not about religion or race or any of that crap. It's just about a choice about how you want to conduct yourself and interact with other people, right? Because those are the things. This is the other thing Pinella said. It's like, he didn't say this way, but it's like, okay, so you do good. It's good to be good, all right? But it's not just not an idle thing. It's like, okay, those experiences are what we take with us when we actually disconnect.
Right.
That's the only thing that we take a value out of this experience.
Well, it's like my wife. Well, my wife says this, and that's profound what you just said. And I wrote down what you said, by the way. And I appreciate it. I'm actually going to put that in my next book under spiritual fitness: being calm, being kind,
spiritual fitness. Oh my God, spiritual fitness. No. That's I hadn't thought of it that way. You're right. Spiritual.
That's spiritual fitness. I'll send you my book, dude. You're going to love it. It's amazing.
Cool.
It's the Bible of optimization. It's not out. It's coming out in about 2 months, but it's literally a Bible on human optimization. I have spiritual fitness. It's amazing. But back to what you just said. You just said something extremely profound, maybe more profound than anything that's come out in the show. And that is that the only thing that we take with us is not just the experience that we forget if we get reincarnated, right? But it's the love, because the love is what, like you said, that holographic fragment of our soul, which goes back to universal consciousness, the creator of all, whatever it is, that is what lasts. The soul holds on to the love. And I think the more love that you can somehow transfer in your many lives or short lives, hopefully, if you crack the riddle and get out, you're a seed of the children, then that's what matters. That's it. You're not taking anything else but love. That's the only thing. My wife always says this. I'll give her props to that. But that's the only thing that matters is love.
I believe you're right. It lends integrity to the web of light. I really think that's the glue that binds us all as family. Because this nonsense of us being somehow races and levels of whatever, that's crazy. That's part of the lie. All of us as souls are connected, we're related to each other, but we're also connected directly, emotionally. See, this is the other thing. You can tell, I believe, what a real soul is connected to an avatar is because they have empathy.
Exactly.
That shows their connectivity.
Right.
For all life. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Brother, thank you so much for coming on today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jay. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll send you the file so you can hopefully put it up on your YouTube channel. As soon as it comes up, I'll give you a link to my Dropbox and you can just download it.
Okay, will do.
Thanks, brother. We'll talk soon, man. Have a fantastic night. And again, I'm humbly very appreciative.
All right. Good deal.
Awesome, man. We'll talk soon.